Well, good evening. John here, back in the shed. Apologies for the absence over the last couple of 3 weeks, but I had a touch of the old COVID. Thought I was going to get away with it, but no, it caught up with me unexpectedly. So anyway, that put me out of action for a little while. I didn't feel much like making videos, so that was that. Anyway, today is a little bit different. Still within the subject of N-gauge railways, but what I had, the problem. I'll get to the problem in a minute, but I had three Class 31s which I put sound chips in. They had the ordinary chips in initially, but as most of you probably know, these Bachmann Graham Farish locos, they now come with a speaker fitted as standard. So all you have to do is buy a sound chip and insert the sound chip, and job done. Unfortunately, one of the 31 sound chips gave up on me, so it just blew its mind. So I had to buy a new sound chip, which that was another £100, which I wasn't too pleased about, but especially as I was trying to sort of save some money to get sound chips for my Class 50s, because I've got four of those. Anyway, the main thing is, because I was intending to do a how-to video, but certain events sort of messed that up. So anyway, I got with the Class 50s, they don't come with the speaker fitted. There's a space in the chassis for a speaker to be fitted. So the idea was I was going to do the first couple off camera, as some that I prepared earlier, kind of thing, and then the next ones I was going to do it on camera. But when I got to the third one, which because I did two one day, and then I started do the second two the next day. Well, when I did the first one of the second two, he fitted the speaker okay, but when I put a borrowed sound chip into it, it didn't work, because I borrowed it out of another loco. So I thought, oh, don't tell me I've got another sound chip gone down. Anyway, so what I did, I had to leave that, because like when I put a speaker in, I have to test them to make sure that it does what it's supposed to do. The first two, they were fine. Anyway, so I then had to borrow a sound chip that I knew would be reliable out of the 31 that had just had a replacement. So when I came to I had to retest that third one, and that's working fine. You know, I've got the sound, lights, everything. So then I just cracked on and did the fourth one. So all four of them were all done off camera. But what I will do, I will show you what I did. Here's the fourth Class 50 that I was doing. This one is, I'll read the name on it. This is 50149, and hang on, I've got to get my magnifying glass out so I can read you that. It's a named loco. Now, those of you that are very good with the old loco numbers will know straight away which one it is. I'm not an actual spotter, but I do like to go and see them. Right, this one is, I'll get the light right. Oh, blimey, I should have remembered this. Defiance. So this loco is 50149 Defiance. And anyway, I'll just put that down there for a minute. Remarkably, these bodies, although they're brand new, these bodies come off very easily, because you don't have to mess about trying to shove a blade, a thin blade or card down the side. They just lift off quite easily. Right, now the speakers that I've put in, 4 speakers which have become spare, and they are ESU speakers. There's a little name plate goes on the top that says ESU. And then if I just take that off, you can see there's the speaker inside. Now, when you get them, they've got 2 leads on them, yards long. They're about that long, the leads. You don't need to have all that lead because you've got enough wires in the thing as it is. So what I do, I just cut them down to a more manageable length and then strip them and then tin them, and that's exactly what I did there. So, and then if I can show you, hopefully this will come out all right. If I hold this up to the camera, there's 2 little solder blobs on there, and all you have to do is attach the wires to those blobs, right? But you'll notice they're marked positive and negative. Well, on the speaker itself, where the wires are attached to the speaker, there's like 2 prongs that are underneath the speaker. Sorry about the aircraft noise, it's the Americans, they're busy. Yeah, so anyway, so the 2 leads come from these 2 prongs that are underneath, and they go inside the well that the speaker fits in, and you attach the wires onto these 2 little blobs of solder that I showed you, and then you put your sound card in and make sure all the other functions work. Oh, excuse me. Make sure all the other, it's all right, it's my salad I had earlier. Make sure all the other functions work, you know, forward and reverse, and the lights, changing over the lights, etc. And most importantly, of course, the sound. And I'm happy to report that the sound speakers on all 4 of my Class 50s, they all work fine. So I'm pleased that I had a go at doing that, because you've got to use quite a fine soldering iron for that, and you want a lower heated one. The one that I use most for most of my soldering jobs is this one. It looks a bit dinosaurish, but it does the job. But I didn't use this one because the wattage on this is a 25 watt. You know, so I didn't want to use the 25 watt on a little thing like this, because that would have really messed it up. And if you look at the, you know, it's a bit of a different point. I wouldn't have been able to get the point of that in there without mucking something up. So I didn't use that one. I've got another one, which is this one. It's got a much finer solder point on it, and the wattage on this is I think this is I'll get it right. Yeah, it's a 15 watt, which it was still hot enough. It still creates enough heat to melt the solder. You just got to wait about another second longer, but you can't use it for big jobs. But you can use it for these little jobs, and I found it was ideal for this. Plus, the solder that I used is a multi-core solder. I'll just show you. It comes in sort of like a tube, and I've got refills for it. Hang on, I'll just show you. That's in my toolkit. Just bear with me a second. I haven't gone, I'm still here. Here we are. Right, yeah, so this is the tube I use, and obviously I have been doing quite a bit of soldering lately, and it needs refilling again, but I've got a coil of it up here on my shelf, yeah, just there. And I just wind a coil out round a pen or pencil, and then put that in here, and then that's job done. So that'll last me quite a while. I'll just leave that down there. So yeah, so having done that, as I say, the first thing you've got to do is just make sure everything works all right. But as I say, I'm happy to report that everything is working well. Now, I mentioned a problem. The problem that I have, this is the original sound chip from the 31 that went down, and I say it's replaced now, and it works fine. But for some reason, this one started playing silly beggars, and I think it's shorted out somehow. But if it's shorted out, and then it's obviously dead. But just to sort of as a double check, or two double checks I looked up the troubleshooting in the instruction book that I got with my controller. The controller I use, where's that turned down? A controller I use is a Gauge Master Prodigy Prodigy Advance version, and it does the job that I want it to do. You get all the sound effects that you want, and it works well. But it's a little bit tricky to sort of sometimes reprogram a chip. And so I'm following the instructions on there in the book. I won't go into the details of that, but I'll just follow. And I followed them to the letter, or even to the number, if you like. And no matter what I did, I couldn't get it back. Now, fortunately, on one of my other locos that started playing up, I did manage to reprogram that one, and I did get it back. And I thought, right, now I've got it back, I'm going to leave it alone. So if you have any problems like that, and you do manage to get it back, after you've got it back, leave it alone. Don't mess about with it anymore. Lesson learned there, because you've got to remember the cost of these things. They're £100 a pop. Anyway, so that's what happened with the 31. And as I say, I had the same thing happen. This one, just to prove that I've got two, there's the one I was just talking about. This is the other one. This was out of my new Class 60. That played up. And I thought to myself, what bloody hell was going on? So I've now got to replace that one, because at the moment I've got a Class 60 that's lost its voice. So and that is annoying, because I bought that. Well, all my locos, with the exception of one or two, were bought new. So it seems to me that there's a problem with sound chips. The regular chips, the ones that are not sound chips, they work fine. And no matter where you place them on the layout, where you drive them to or whatever, not a problem. But the sound chips, anything that might happen untoward, they just don't like it. So so if you've got a sound chip, if you put a sound chip in a loco, you've got to be really careful how you run it sometimes, and because if anything shorts out, your sound chip's going to go west. Now, as I say, I've been both of these sound chips, both this one from the 60 and this one from the 31. I've tried to reprogram them, because what I did, I phoned up Coastal DCC. They're over in Derby Road, Ipswich. I rang them up today and I said, is it possible to try and sort of see what I mean, I know they've got a fault on them now, but see what the actual fault is, or is there a way of getting them back? And he asked me what sort of controller I've got, and I told him I've got a Gauge Master Prodigy Advance, and I told him about the instructions in the book. He said, no, take the notice of the instructions in the book, because they're wrong. I said, oh, well, that's brilliant. He said, yeah. He said, what you got to do, and he told me what I had to do. So, starting again, I did exactly what he told me to do 3 or 4 times, and I still couldn't get them back. So either there's something else amiss, or they are totally knackered. I mean, they're not burnt. There's no signs of burning on there at all, on either side. I mean, I've even sort of lifted the little white label off the back, and there's no sign of burning underneath them. So so what I will pass on to anyone who's got a loco fitted with a sound chip, be very careful, because these kids, when you look at them, I mean, you think to yourself, oh, 100 quid for that. But when you sort of really look at them, I mean, when you look at that, you know, these are all done by a machine. You know, they're not. You know, well, some people might run away with the idea that there's a little fella that works with a blow like that, and he's got, you know, no, they're all done. They're all like stamping out. They're all done by a machine, and they all these little bits and pieces that are on this printed circuit board. You know, it's amazing how they are made. Um, but I mean, the ones that you get in double O locos and O gauge locos, they are a bit bigger, but not by much. Especially the double O ones. The chips that go in double O locos, they're not much bigger than this. Because I mean, there's I don't know if those of you that might watch Suzanne Wackham's channel, Mildenhall and Districts. If you watch her channel, quite often I mean, she had at one time she had so many locos that she's had to sort of recycle some of them to get over, because her layout is constantly changing. It's amazing. I've not actually been there, but I watch her videos quite a lot, and she runs double O gauge, and she does quite a few how-to things as well. She's very clever at what she does. But she mentions like speakers. She changes speakers in locos because she's not happy with the sound in some of them, and she always recommends a certain brand, and then they're known as like sugar cube speakers. Well, I've never seen a square speaker, but they're usually oblong, and they're not much bigger than this. They're slightly bigger than this. Matter of fact, one of my fellow club members was only asking me last week, you know, how can they get a speaker inside a loco like this? You know, I said, well, don't forget, I said, I've got a class 08 that's got sound on it. So I was saying, can you imagine, you know, the performance getting a speaker and a sound card inside a little loco like an 08? So anyway, I said that I said to him I would probably take one of my locos that have got sound in along so that he could see the size of the speaker. What I'll probably do is take this one, because although this is on the layout, it's not actually in service yet because it hasn't got any couplings on it. I haven't had it haul anything yet. Whereas all my other locos have, so I've not really tested this one as thoroughly as I'd like, because I would rather wait until I've got sound in it, you see. So yeah, they're nice locos to run though. I mean, these are, as those of you that know, the 50s are Coco locos as against Bobo. For those that don't know what I'm saying, they got six. A Coco has got 6 wheels on each bogie. You know, 3 axles on each bogie, and a Bobo has got 4 wheels on it, or 2 axles on each bogie. So it's a railway coding. It's not something that was done for model railways. That is the coding they actually use on the real locos. You know, I mean, having worked, you know, with locos myself, driving, you know, it's I do understand all that. You know, I mean, some people think, well, you know, when they hear someone talking who's a railway employee, and they say come out with all this different terminology, they think, what's he on about? You know, well, I know straight away what he's on about because I've done it myself. So so I'm quite well versed in that. But anyway, yeah. So moving on. I will stress that anyone who is fitting sound chips, you know, please be careful, because, as I say, they're not cheap. Having said that, of course, there's the Bluetooth version that came out for controlling locos, and the chips, although they're similar to these, they are quite a bit cheaper, to the tune of about 40 quid cheaper. The chips for a Bluetooth controlled loco are £60, 60 odd pounds, which is a lot better than 100. You know, it's more of a sort of manageable. especially if like me, you're retired, you know. Not everyone who's a pensioner has got a lot of money. So, you know, like Rachel Reeves thinks, you know, all us pensioners, we're not all rich. You know, some of us struggle now and again. I mean, all right, I'm fairly comfortable, but you know, I don't struggle as much as other, you know, people who are really sort of struggling. You know, I mean, if I was really struggling, I wouldn't be able to afford to have this layout. So excuse me, scratching my bonds again. I must stop doing that. Yeah. So there we are. Um, yeah, I will finish by saying that if there's any of you out there that have had problems with these sound chips and have got the knowledge of how to correct them, or how to program them, or whatever, according to what controllers you're using, please leave me a note kindly in the comments, because you know, I'm a bit of a loss as to what to do with these now. The only thing I'm thinking of doing is sending these. I'll ring up Coastal DCC again, and because I did thank him for his advice, but I said, but I'm thinking of sort of asking him if I can send them to him, and could he have a look at them? Yeah, because he's got the computer for programming. See, now I didn't know this, but uh, Kevin, that's his name, yeah, Kevin at Coastal DCC. When I went to buy the replacement for the 31, he said it'll be about a half hour. So I said, why would it be about a half hour? He said, well, they don't come in with the sound on ready. He said, we get the sound chips. He said, and we've got all the sounds on the computer. He said, what we have to do, we have to plug the chip into that, into the programmer to get the sound onto the chip. And I said, oh, I said, I'm sorry. I said, I didn't realise that's how it worked. Because all the chips that I bought for the 31s before, I ordered through the mail, you know, through the got they both. I ordered sort of like via the internet, and they sent them out to me. So of course I hadn't got a clue that they. So, but on this occasion, I actually went there, because it doesn't cost me anything to get over there, only a bit of time, and because I get a free pass on the trains, you see, and so anyway, I said, all right, I said, okay, I said, I'll have a look round your shop. I said, if anything else grabs my attention, I said, I'll probably buy that as well. Anyway, it was done in less than half an hour. It didn't take as long as he thought. I think it only took about 15-20 minutes, something like that. Because I was sort of back to where he was. I'm looking at some other things in the shop now. And I heard him sort of come back to the counter. I turned around, he said, it's all done, it's all ready. I said, oh, I said, thank you very much. I said, blimey, that was quick. He said, yeah, he said, sometimes, he said, it depends on how the computer's working or whatever. He said, but yeah, I got the sound loaded quite quickly today. So I said, oh, well, thank you very much. So I'm hoping that, you know, with that same technology that he's got, he might be able to sort out what's wrong with these. So I'll give him a ring tomorrow and find out if he'd be willing to check these out for me. In the meantime, as I say, if there's any of you out there that have had similar problems and know how to fix it, or know if they can be fixed, please could you let me know in the comments below, and I'll look out for that. So on that note, I'll say cheerio for now, and I will see you in the next video. I don't know when it'll be. It all depends on circumstances. But what I will do, either way, is just let you know what answers I get on these things, on these chips. See what happens. So on that note, I'll say cheerio for now and see you next time. Take care, everyone, and watch out for the old COVID, because that summer COVID is another variant, and it's doing the rounds. Okay, take care of yourselves. Bye for now. Thanks for watching.